Hi friends, welcome to the channel Unshackling Sudokus and Puzzles. Ashish here, and today we'll be covering a puzzle genre called Shimaguni puzzle. So today we'll be solving two puzzles from different authors, and we got a viewer's request to cover a video on these puzzle types, right? So I really thank our viewers for giving us request, and we are really happy to cover them. So before going to the puzzle, I would highly recommend you to please subscribe to the channel Unshackling Sudokus and Puzzles if you haven't done so. It will really motivate us to cover videos on daily basis, and if at all you have a request for any Sudoku variant or a puzzle genre, do let us know in the comment below and we'll surely make a video on it. And now coming back to the puzzles, firstly I would like to thank both the authors for giving me an opportunity to cover a video on our channel. The first puzzle that we are solving is by Corbin O, and the second puzzle that we will be solving is by Goran H. So I really thank both the authors. And so coming back to the puzzle, we need to shade some cells in each region such a way that all the black cells in each region are connected to each other, right? And number within a region indicates how many number of black cells will be in that region which are shaded, right? So I mean to say how many cells are shaded in that region is indicated by a number in that. If there is no number in the region, any number of cells can be shaded, but at least one, right? So if this is a 3, there has to be 3 cells shaded, but all the 3 cells would have to be connected to each other. So you cannot have in this way, right? This is not possible. Okay. And the next part of the rule is that if there is no number in the region, any number of black cells can be there in the region, and two regions with the same amount of black cells, right, cannot be orthogonally adjacent to each other. So for example, if you have 2 cells shaded here, or maybe just 2 cells shaded here, you cannot have 2 cells shaded here, because both of these regions are connected to each other. They are orthogonally connected, which means you cannot have same number of shaded cells in both the regions. That is what the rule says. So I'll again brief you with the rules. The rules are, you need to shade some of the cells in each region, but all the shaded cells will have to be connected to each other in each of the regions, and the number of shaded cells in each region is indicated by the number in the region. If there is no number, then any number of shaded cells can be present in the region, and if two regions are orthogonally adjacent to each other, the number of shaded cells would have to be different in both the regions, right? And with that we'll start solving this puzzle. Okay, so see, I see that this is a 3 here, and both of these are connected to 3's, and both of these are connected to each other as well. So which means one of the regions will have 1 shaded cell and other will have 2 shaded cells. It cannot have 3 because 3 is already here, right? And it is touching both of these 3 cell regions. So which means one of the regions will have 1 shaded cell and the other will be having 2 shaded cells. Okay, so which means that this region cannot have 4 shaded cells. So it is connected to both 1 and the 2 region, right? This is a 1 or a 2 region, one of these 2 regions, right? And which means both of these regions are connected to this 4 cell region. So it cannot have 1 or a 2 shaded cell. It cannot have a 4 shaded cell as well, because what will happen is no cell, I mean to say this region won't have any cell shaded, which means this can have only 3 shaded cells. And which means if 3 shaded cells means both of these will have to be shaded, because the shaded cells will have to be connected to each other within a region. So which means both of these cannot be shaded, because so one more rule that I have missed is, so when the regions are connected to each other, black cells cannot be orthogonally adjacent, right? So for example, in this region, right, you cannot have a black cell that is connected to the other black cell of other region. That is also not possible. I am sorry, I just missed out that rule, right? So both of these will be unshaded, and now at least one of these cell would have to be shaded in a region. So this is a shaded cell, and we know that this cell would have, this region is having 3 shaded cells, so this is shaded, and this cell is having a 2 shaded cell, because one of the regions will have 1 shaded cell and other region will have 2 shaded cell. So we are done with this part now, and this cell will have to have 3 shaded cells, so this is also done. I'm sorry, this mouse isn't working actually. This is unshaded, this is unshaded, right? Okay, so this part is done now. Okay, that's awesome. So if you see this region, this is orthogonally adjacent to 1 cell region, 2 cell region, 3 cell region and 4 cell region, which means this would have to have minimum 5 cell region. I mean to say it would have to have minimum 5 shaded cell, right? Yeah, it is connected to a region which will have 1 shaded cell, 2 shaded cell, 3 shaded cell and 4 shaded cell, which means this region should have at least 5 shaded cell, and it has only exactly 5 cells remaining. So all the cells would have to be shaded, right? So all of these cells will have to be unshaded, and which means now this region with the 2 here will need to have 2 cells shaded, and there are only 2 cells remaining here. Okay, and this region needs to have 4 cells shaded, and only 4 cells are remaining, right? Awesome. Okay, so now this region needs to have either 2 cell or 1 cell shaded, and 2 cell is already shaded here, that is orthogonally adjacent, so it can have only 1 cell shaded here. That is done. Okay, so the top part of the puzzle is done. Let's see the bottom part here. I see here that you have this region also has region with 1 cell shaded, 2 cells shaded, 3 cells shaded, right? So at least 4 cells would have to be shaded in this region, which means both of these would have to be shaded. Okay, now if you see these 2 regions, one would have to be 1 cell shaded, another will have to be 2 cells shaded, right? If I shade this cell, both the regions will have 1 cell shaded, right? 1 cell only shaded, right? So which means this cell cannot be shaded, this is unshaded, and both of these would have to be shaded now. So only 4 cells can be shaded in this region. We came to know that only 4 or 5 cells would have to be shaded, and if this cell is a shaded cell, then you'll get a contradiction here, right? So this is also unshaded. Again, if you see this region now, it is already orthogonally connected to region with 1 cell shaded, 2 cell shaded and 3 cell shaded. At least 4 cells would have to be shaded here, and if we use the rule that all these shaded cells will have to be connected to each other, this is the mutual cell, or this is the common cell that has to be shaded in this region. So if you unshade this cell, you are not able to shade 4 cells in that region. So this cell is a shaded cell now, that makes this cell as unshaded, and only these 3 cells are shaded. So which means both of these becomes unshaded, and 4 cells are these 4 cells to be shaded. This is a shaded cell, unshaded, unshaded, all of these are unshaded. At least 1 cell would have to be shaded, so this is a shaded cell, and these would have to have 2 cells shaded because it cannot be 1 cell shaded. 1 cell shaded is already here, and this can be a 1 cell shaded cell. Okay, for 5 cells to be shaded, the common cells are these 2 cells, right? So both of these are unshaded. This is a shaded cell, both of these becomes unshaded now. 5 can be shaded now here. This becomes unshaded, this becomes shaded. Okay, so 1 cell would have to be shaded, 2 cells would have to be shaded, right? Okay, so if both of these are shaded, the minimum shaded cell in this region would have to be 3. Oh, that is possible. And this can be shaded. Let us see if any other way to see the logic. Oh, sorry, that is an easy logic here. You already have one cell shaded in this region, so this region cannot have one cell shaded. Both the cells would have to be shaded in this region. One cell in this region and 3 cells in this region, right? And with that we complete this gorgeous puzzle by Corbin. What an excellent puzzle this was. Such an I would not say very easy puzzle, a bit of tricky puzzle, because this part and this part was quite tricky here. Even this part wasn't easy here. So it's a really an excellent puzzle. I really thank the author for such a wonderful puzzle. And now let us solve the second puzzle here by Zoran H. So we have already solved one of the Nori Nori puzzle by the same author, Zoran H. So this is the second puzzle by the author, and I really thank the author for such a wonderful puzzle. I am 100% sure this would have to be an excellent puzzle, right? So let's see if we are able to crack this puzzle. I can see that there are one cell regions here, so for sure, of course, all of these one cell region would have to be shaded, right? And all of these would have to be unshaded now. Okay. I'm sorry, actually my mouse isn't working here properly. Okay, so this is a one cell region that is already shaded, and this region cannot have one cell shaded now. It needs to have at least 2 cells shaded, and in both the ways you already have exactly 2 cells remaining, right? Okay, which means this cell cannot have all the 3 cells shaded, because both the possibilities of 2 cells shedding gets knocked out actually, which means this region will have only 1 cell shaded, and this region can have 3 cells shaded again. Okay, so this will have 2 cells shaded, this will have 1 cell shaded, but how can we continue using that logic? Let us see. Seems to be a tricky one. If you have 2 cells shaded here, this becomes a 1 cell shaded, and nothing happens here. Okay, okay, so this is a 1 cell shaded region. This cell cannot be 2 cells okay, if we shade this cell, at least 2 cells would have to be shaded, and there are no more possible shaded cells in this region, because neither 1 cell can be shaded nor 2 cells can be shaded. And if you shade 3 cells, again only 1 cell is remaining in this region to be shaded. Okay, so you cannot start a shaded cell from here, a tricky one. Same way you cannot start a shaded cell from here, because at least 2 cells will be shaded and you'll have only 1 cell shaded remaining in this region. Again it cannot okay, so for at least 2 cells to be shaded, both of these this would have to be the common cell shaded here, so that actually removes both of these cells. This cell cannot be shaded because 1 cell cannot be shaded here. Okay, if I unshade this cell, of course this cell would have to be shaded, and what happens here is you cannot have 1 cell shaded because this is connected to 1 cell region. You cannot have 2 cells shaded as well because you have 2 cell shaded region as well. So which means you get a contradiction on this region. So which means this cell would have to be a shaded cell, and at least 2 cells would have to be shaded in this region. So this is a shaded cell, and either this or this is a shaded cell, or both as well, right? So which means this cell would have to be unshaded. Quite a tricky one actually. Okay, if I shade this cell, both of these becomes unshaded and only one cell remaining in shaded cell, but you already have one cell shaded here, right? So you cannot shade this cell. Come on. Of course, this cell cannot be shaded because it can be shaded. It's a really tricky one actually. One, you have two cells shaded, means three will be shaded here. This cell is not touching a one cell shaded region, right? That is actually quite tricky here. I'm not sure what am I missing here, but okay. So if this is both shaded here, two and three, this can have, so this cannot be shaded because you'll have only one cell remaining shaded, right? Come on, I'm surely missing something easy here. Four cell shaded, this can be two cells shaded here. So one of them will be two or three. So this would have to have a four cell shader, right? Quite a tricky one here. I'm sure I'm missing something because this is an excellent puzzle by Goran H here, and it is really a tricky one. Or maybe we are missing something very simple here. This is a two cell shader and one cell shader here. Okay, let me see if this is both the cell shaded. This would have to be one cell shaded, and none of these can be shaded, right? Oh, I can do that. Oh, that's awesome. I actually forgot that this region is connected to one cell shaded region, two cell shaded region, right? Which means you cannot have this cell as shaded because you'll have only two cells remaining that can be shaded, and which is already connected to a two cell region, right? So which means this is an unshaded cell, and now if you see here, both of these cannot be shaded because then you have only two cells remaining for it to be shaded, and it is already connected to a two cell shaded region, which means both of these would have to be shaded, and this is shaded now, right? Okay. So this is a unshaded cell, unshaded, right? And both of these, so unshaded here, this also cannot be shaded, and you will have at least 4 cells shaded in this region because it is connected to 1 cell, 2 cell, and both of these will have to be 2 or a 3, so 3 cell is also shaded. So for 4 cells this will be unshaded, I mean to say this will be shaded. This region is connected to a 1 cell region, 2 cell region, right? So at least 3 cells would have to be shaded. So this is unshaded now, which means at least 2 only will have to be shaded here. So this cell, this is a 3 shaded cell region, this is a 2 shaded cell region. Wow, now we are getting somewhere with this Sudoku, I mean to say puzzle here, not Sudoku. Okay, now this region is connected to 2 cell, 3 cell and 1 cell as well, right? It is connected to 1 cell shaded region, 3 cell and 2 cell, so at least 4 cells would have to be shaded here. So this is unshaded, and 2 cells cannot be shaded here, at least only 1 cell can be shaded in this region. Okay, 1 cell cannot be shaded here in this region because it is already connected to 1 cell region. 1 cell, 2 cells, so at least 3 cells would have to be shaded in this region. Okay, I see that these two regions you need to have 2 and 3 cells shaded here, so which means a total of 5 cells would be shaded. That's an excellent piece of logic here, guys. If you see here, it's a really excellent piece of logic. So what happens at this part is, within these two regions of 8 cells remaining, 5 cells would have to be shaded at least. And if you see here, both of these cannot be shaded, both of these cannot be shaded, both of these cannot be shaded, right? So which means only 3 cells out of these 6 cells can be shaded. The other 2 cells would have to be these 2 cells, which means this becomes unshaded. This is a 4 cell region now, right? And at least 2 cells in both the regions would have to be shaded, right? Because one of it is a 2 cell region and other is a 3 cell region. So all of these becomes unshaded now. So if you see this region now, it is a one, it cannot be 1 cell shaded region, cannot be 4 cell shaded region, cannot be 2 cell shaded region, so it can be 3 cell shaded region at least. So this is a shaded now. For a common cell to be shaded, this is unshaded, which means this is a 2 cell region, this is a 3 cell region, this is a 4 cell region, and this is a 1 cell region. That's nice, that is awesome. Okay, can it be a 3 cell shaded region? Let us see. So this is 1. Okay, both the 2s and 3s are also connected, which means this is a 4 cell shaded region. Come on. Okay, this region cannot be 3 cell shaded region as well, because this is a 3 cell shaded region which is already connected. So the only remaining shaded region is 5 cell shaded region. This becomes 3, sorry, this becomes 1. Okay, so 1 and 2 is done here, 4 is done here. So this is 3, this is 4, and this is a 3 cell shaded region. And with that we complete this gorgeous puzzle by Goran H. What an excellent and tricky puzzle here. This was really a tricky puzzle and actually made us wait at this point here. This bottom left was really tough, but an excellent puzzle and purely logical. I really enjoyed this video, so I really thank both the authors Corbin and Goran H for such an excellent puzzles. I hope you enjoyed this video. So if at all you have any request for any Sudoku variant or puzzle genre, do let us know in the comment below. And if at all you got any other way to solve these puzzles, let us know in the comment below as well, right? So I hope you enjoyed this video. Don't forget to subscribe to the channel. Thank you.